What's up everyone, Alex here with Off the Cuff Reviews. I am back again to bring you guys a special new video. This time we're going to be talking about The Quiet Place Part 2, so let's get into it. Before we actually get into this movie, I just wanted to say that I did send a tweet out the other day that said I was going to be doing a come with me style review where I review it at the theater. I went to the drive-in to see this and I ran into some technical difficulties while filming, so that's why I have to refilm this right now. So without further ado, let's talk about The Quiet Place. Quiet Place Part 2 was written and directed by John Krasinski, and it stars Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, and Cillian Murphy. There might be mild spoilers for A Quiet Place Part 1 because this movie actually leaves off with the ending of A Quiet Place Part 1, so if you have not seen that, I would recommend going to watch that before you watch this review if you don't want mild spoilers about that movie. But here's the synopsis for Quiet Place Part 2. Following the events at home, the Abbott family now face the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking beyond the sand path. You can tell that there are some spoilers just from that synopsis that I'm reading directly from IMDb. So if you have, like I said, if you have not seen A Quiet Place Part 1, I do recommend you go watch that. But let's get into it. So this movie is shot beautifully. I think that John Krasinski does a great job with the directing of this, as well as the writing. Some of the writing I do have a problem with. I don't want to say problem because it really didn't hinder the movie for me, but there were a couple of things that I think that they could do better. In this movie, you can tell there's a lot of foreshadowing going on with different things that are happening on screen. That bothers me a little bit because it's almost like there's too much foreshadowing. Like, you can literally predict as soon as you see something that that's foreshadowing something, and you can predict what it's foreshadowing just by the scene that's happening. And I feel like they did a really good job with the foreshadowing, but there's too much of it. I feel like they could have at least disguised it a little better, but I digress because that is really my only real gripe with this movie. The ending was also a little abrupt and it wasn't as filled with emotions as the first one was, but that is okay because this is a sequel. In my opinion, I don't really think that they needed to make this. I feel like they did this for money, but I do think that this movie was good. I think that this was one of the better horror sequels to come out, but that's mainly because of the directing. John Krasinski crafted this movie and it looks amazing. The acting was also very, very good and it was very engaging actually. I thought Emily Blunt did an amazing job as always. Millicent Simmons is honestly, she was a very big standout in the first one, and I think that returning here, she does a very great job, and Cillian Murphy is just amazing all around. So I mean, you can't really go wrong with casting him, honestly. One of the problems that I do have with this series, I guess, like between the first one and this one, is the sound design. Now, I think the actors did an amazing job at portraying emotions on screen without using dialogue, because you have to be quiet in this movie. My gripe with this one, as well as the first one, is that there's almost no dialogue, or the dialogue is very low. So as soon as something happens on screen, it's very jarring, it's very loud. It seems louder than it is, maybe. And I guess that's just like the nature of the movie, so I can't really like nitpick at this, but I feel like they just could have done a better job at blending the sounds a little bit better so they're not as abrupt. But like I said, I have overall positive views about this movie. The acting was good, the directing was good, the writing was good, so I do recommend this one. But before you watch A Quiet Place Part 2, you have to watch A Quiet Place Part 1 or you will not really understand what's going on or who the characters are or why they're doing certain things that they do. So you should probably watch the first one so you can kind of get an idea of what's happening and then watch the second one. I do think A Quiet Place Part 1 is better. I thought that they delivered the performances better. I thought the whole movie was better, like as a whole. But A Quiet Place Part 2 was definitely a better horror sequel, one of the better ones that we've seen. A lot of horror movies, as you guys know, try to come out with sequels and they're not that good. this one definitely holds up and it definitely carries the story very well. This is a very good feature from John Krasinski, especially how he's helming this one by himself, and he did an amazing job. There you have it, everyone. That was my review for A Quiet Place Part 2. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie down below. Did you guys see this one? Or are you going to see it? Are you going to see it in theaters? Or are you going to watch it at home? Let me know. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, as well as check out the link in the description for my Patreon, which is only $2 a month right now. Go check that out. I will see you on the flip side. Stay safe, everyone.